Yeah, cool. There. There. Okay, I'm going to talk about conical cores a little bit, taking blades from those using a Hammerstone. I think this is a good technique for learning to use a tool, even though you may not use the end product as much, or you can't get it, there's no value in it because you can't sell it to interested collectors. But so I wouldn't consider it a waste of material, but some people might think it's a waste of material because there's nothing left but blades. But if you think about it, when you're learning to flint knap, you go through a lot of tonnage, and there's a whole lot of debitage that we waste anyway when you're learning. So even when you've already learned, you still waste a lot. So it's not any different in that aspect. And plus you're learning. I think that whenever I first transitioned from copper to abo tools, I tried making cores with different tools. I used made cores with Hammerstones, made cores with horizontal antler punches, and I made cores using direct percussion. And when you do that, I think it's a really good teaching tool for learning how to use the tool that's in your hand that's taking the flakes. You learn how to prepare platforms along ridges, because if you don't, you're not going to get a blade. You learn not to hit it too hard, because if you don't, you're going to get a short blade, one that breaks and hinges, and whenever that happens, further reduction in the core becomes very difficult. So you try really hard to do everything right, and when you try really hard to do everything right, you learn quicker. So I have this piece of Sonora, and it's really a funny shape, and I often thought that I would use it to make cores with instead of, I could knock off spalls of it and make something. I should try to knock off a couple for Cumberlands or something. But anyway, we're going to get into this core. I'm going to have another video showing how to get into a core. This one already has some edges here where I can take flakes from, but I'll make another video of how to get into a core. But typically you need something that's a little concave in the inside in all directions, and a lot of times that's attained by just a single blow. This one has a hump right here on the end. I don't know if I had the light right, if you could ever see that. So that kind of, it's not concave right there in that area where I need to be, so I'm going to hit it a little higher. Because remember, where you strike the plane, it's got to be less than 90 degrees. So I take a few flakes. Let's see. Also with blades, I find, let's say that the length of the blade is going to be from my thumb to my middle finger right here. Most of them break just a little ways in from your point of contact, or the initiation point. So right there is where the most support needs to be, just underneath the platform. And a lot of times I might leave the rest of it open except for maybe the very bottom. So may not look like it whenever I put it in my hand like that. It's kind of supported along the whole length. That's kind of what I want, but also want to make sure I support it at contact areas are right below the flake and at the end. The reason it's below again is to help keep it from breaking, and the reason I have it at the end is because that's the when you tap it, you know, I'm feeling that feel I talk about all the time. I'm feeling down there in the end to see if the angle feels right, because I want, when you adjust everything and you're tapping around there, you imagine the fracture going through the rock and ending somewhere. So it makes a certain vibration right there. That's what I'm after. This is going to be a few ugly ones probably here at first, because this is domed right here, but got to start somewhere. Let's see. There. Alright. We are going to create platforms specifically. So I'm going to turn the camera off while I prepare it, but I'm going to prepare platforms right in this area here along this ridge, and one up here along this ridge. Okay, I have a couple of these prepared now. It's not it's not great. This one here, platform, is a little cattywampus. It's kind of it needs to arc not only this way but that way too. So that's good that it's cattywampus. I didn't want it. I mean, I think it'll work just fine, but I'm going to take this one before I take this one, because if you look along the edge there, you can see that if I take this one first, this is a flatter. I don't know, like this one sticks out more. So since this one sticks out more, it'll be easier to take than this one. If I take this one, it'll try to spread out over to this side. Sometimes when you're using these cores, you have to take these flakes this way to get the right contour. So typically cores get shorter, the blades get shorter as you move into the core. But I'm going to hold my, let's see, I'm going to spread my fingers out all along the bottom, put that finger right there. That's pretty much where I'd like for it to come off, and then try to support it just right underneath where I'm going to hit, so hopefully it stays together. I'm going to use this size Hammerstone for it, and I'm going to hold it freehand and not anvil it in. Sometimes that's okay too, but I'd say at least for, you know, beginning stages, it's better to let it go freehand, because if you happen to hit it too hard, it'll give a little bit, and your blade is more likely to run the length that you've designed it to. So I'm going to hit it a little bit high on the platform and try not to hit it too hard, and angle my direction of blow towards where I want the blade to come off. Like that. Okay, and now that I've taken that one off, you can see that this one should come off fairly easy, and it's already ready. So I'm going to strike it. Well, let's see, let me show you where I put this back together. So you can see how high I struck up on that. If you go too thin, if you don't hit high enough up there, you won't get the blade all the way down. It might hinge out. It has a bigger risk of hinging out. So I'm going to hit this one in approximately the same direction, a little bit high up. And it's got a funky, it kind of curves, arcs down, and then you can see at the end it arcs up. So I'm going to put my finger contact, instead of like at the end right here, I'm going to put my finger contact down here and try to get a thicker flake. So I'm going to put my finger down there. Sometimes if this is really sharp, it's a good idea to just go over it kind of like that, just to keep it from cutting you, because you've got your fingers along it. Alright, and then spread my fingers out, and remember I got to put your pinky or something right underneath where you're going to strike. And don't strike too hard, and tap it until you get that feel right. That's going to be the one thing that's going to take probably the most practiced. And they say flint knapping is an art. That's definitely one example of it being an art. Is that right? Touch and feel. This is kind of broad and flat, so my contact area is I don't really like it that well because it might spread out too much, but we'll give it a go. I'm going to prepare one along this ridge, and I'm going to show you, hopefully in a close-up, if it'll focus, that's my striking platform isn't perpendicular to this ridge, and if it's not perpendicular to the ridge, then the flake runs off perpendicular to whatever angle is up here, so it'll run off to the side that way. One little tip is, I think would be good, I gotta finish tapping that off, but after you take a flake, you have a bulb of percussion right there. If you remove the thin edges in the bulb, then and try to get this convexity to the core this way, then it automatically helps to isolate a platform. I'm not sure if I recorded that last session. Just in case I didn't, I'll show what I meant to show. This platform here was a little broad. I mentioned it before, but there wasn't a whole lot of isolation left I could do because I took too many small back flakes in there, which was okay, but it was fine. I just wanted it to blend right in to here anyway. So I got this really nice broad flake, and I also took this flake here, which it was really straight on this plane and arched on this plane, which was good, but the straight part is bad. So I took a back flake from the tip to give it more of an arch, because if it's too straight, it'll want to hinge down at the tip. And I offset my point of contact because if I was right in line with the ridge, which is ideal, where I needed to strike it, it wasn't right. So I had to move over just a little bit and made the contact there, but still aimed to the tip, and the flake came off fine. Now I'm going to show you, like, obviously I don't want to hit right here yet along this way, because you can see that I would have quite a bit of material to get underneath this. But there's a way you can get around that. Ooh, I see a little bit of a crack there. But anyways, you can work this. Take off. What I'm going to do is take off this material that's sticking out, so I have a an edge that's more in line. Think of like a bifacial edge. The cortex is really soft. So okay, now you pretty much have it. You can see it's a lot better, more arched. I'm going to clean up these little spots. Don't want it to go like that down through there. So kind of like clean off the deltas, so to speak, a little bit. If you're taking a really thick wide flake, it doesn't really matter. If you're taking really thin flake, it does matter. But I just want to do it because in case I mess up and I end up taking a thin one, I don't want it to stop because I didn't fix this part. Okay, I finished prepping this edge, beating down the edge to make sure I got rid of everything that was sticking out. I took a couple back flakes in here to try to get this edge, the striking edge, you know, where I'm going to make contact perpendicular to this ridge or the blade. And I think I can get this flake. It looks really iffy and there's some imperfections all along this, but we'll give it a try anyway. Hit a little too high. You can see the highest concentration of sand, so I hit it just a hair too high. It's my hammerstone's so broad. But I didn't hit it too hard, so there's no initiation there. Well, it might be a small one, but I don't think it's a problem. That's good reason why not to hit it too hard. There. I hope you can see that I'm not hitting that very hard at all. There. Okay, I'm gonna hit right there. There's no tricks or fancy stuff to that. That. And then here, trying to find the right part of my hammerstone that sticks out enough to make contact right where I want it to. Yeah, cool. Notice I'm just hitting it enough to where it was still stuck whenever I hit it. Didn't actually release, but it did fracture all the way, and it's just nice and smooth right there. And since I took this blending flake, if you look at the contours, I didn't really want it to go all the way down because it would take a lot of length off if it overshot. So in order to save the length, I take this blade off, a blending one, and now I've got one I can run farther here and one this way. Okay, I spent a little bit of time isolating this one. It's well isolated, except I need to hit it in just the right spot or else it's not going to work. So hoping I can make it work. There. Okay, maybe I'll set up two, one here and one here to get rid of the cortexes, and then I'll call it good enough. I want to spend a little time, I don't think I really covered it very well, really how to prepare this back side when it's not right. This is, hopefully you can tell by shadows and angles that the contours right here aren't right for taking this flake. It's 90 or more degrees. So I need to take some back flakes into this area, and I like to come from two sides. So I'm gonna start right here. There's a little Aurelia flake, or whatever those are called. I need to get rid of that. The best way to get rid of that is to take a flake this way. Don't hit on, well, actually you can tap on it too, is another way. Like that. So, okay, so I'm gonna, it's not ready to hit in this other way. And I need something a little bit bigger than just a small one, because there's just a lot to do on this to get it ready. Okay, now I've kind of isolated a little something in there. I want it to spread out. Try to hit that, hopefully just right. You have to be careful when you're doing this, because you can overdo the stuff around it in preparation to do this one, and then if you need to take another one you can't, because you've removed all the right material to do to be able to take that flake with. So let's see here. Definitely not good enough. So off of this bulb right here, remember before I was saying to eat that material away and then isolate, you know, to build convexity in your core. Sometimes you need that angle right there that the bulb leaves to take that back flake. So that's what I've done here. Sometimes a good hard hammerstone works for it too. The trick, and it's really hard to do with antler, is to make sure that it doesn't go all the way across and take off your other edge, because then it'll be rolled and then you're just SOL. You won't be able to do anything then. Dang it. Now I've done it. Yeah, that's not right. Maybe I'll go ahead and take this flake here while I can. I've got this platform set up. There. Let me see if I can work on this and fix it, and I'll show it afterwards. Okay, I got something I can hit there, but it's not very pretty. It might not work either. I mean, it's just, I know I've said that a few times that it might not work, and the reason I say it is because if I not hold my mouth just right, it won't work. Such small room for error, and I don't like that. But give it a shot anyway. What the heck? There. Alright. Turn it back on in a minute. Okay, I put all the blades back together that came off the core. And I'll just show the reduction sequence. This was a large piece I took off of the end, mainly because the contour wasn't right and it would be hard to get into to make the contour right, so I just took a spall off of that, and I might maybe be able to hit it again and flute it, so to speak. Not really flute it, but take something along that ridge and maybe make an El-Jobo point, or El-Obo, whatever that, how you say it, or Cumberland. Let's see, that's, so there's one, and then these are more of like the, I don't know, I don't really know that much about blade core technology. I know the Mayans did a lot of blade core technology, and they had really huge, humongous blades that were thick, and sometimes they would make, just use the blade, or like make handles and stuff, and make these funny looking knives that you can tell still look like a blade off of them. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And they all stayed together. If your blades are staying together, they're not breaking in two, then you can bet that your swing speed is probably good, especially if it's, all of this part is really smooth. These are all smooth and don't have huge undulations in them. And so just use the slowest swing speed possible. Try to hit it just hard enough to just take the flake off and nothing else. I could probably take a couple more off of this. I know I could. Here and here. You can really just work these down into nothing. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Anyway, I guess that's it.